Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to the so-called Sameeksha. Today I am going to discuss about one concept known as FRBM. We'll just look at why this is in news because recently there was a statement from Finance Minister yesterday. So in this context, I am discussing this: what is FRBM and how exactly is this important? What are the themes that I am going to discuss? The themes are: what is FRBM? Why FRBM is all of a sudden in news? What is NK Sync committee and what are those recommendations and what are the documents that has to be presented. Now this is the news. Government has not released or conveyed its inability to release medium-term expenditure framework. Now medium-term expenditure framework is one document that government has to release in the monsoon session as a part of FRBM recommendations. Now, FRBM says there are 4 documents which it has to release. 3 documents will be released along with budget. The third document or the fourth document will be medium term expenditure framework. At this point of time, see, budget is present on February 1st. So after 6 months, it has to present, which means in August, that is in monsoon session, they have to present. Monsoon session is going on, but the ministry has conveyed its inability to release this FRBM. That is the reason why this is in news. So what exactly is FRBM? FRBM is an act of parliament which was passed in the year 2003. Now what is the main reason for passing it? Fiscal responsibility and budget management means manage your budget in such a way that there is fiscal responsibility. What do you mean by fiscal responsibility? Fiscal responsibility means taking the responsibility to control deficits. The question is, what is deficit? Deficit is a situation when your budget expenditure is more than budget income. Right? In order to balance this, excess borrowings will be done, and that excess borrowings is known as fiscal deficit. Now, in order, if the fiscal deficits are very high, government will retain to more borrowings. If government is borrowing more and more, it is going to create huge debt burden on the country. Not only now, in the future generations also, debt servicing ratio will be very high. In order to control this, in the year 2003, government has decided or parliament has passed an act known as FRBM, and it is saying to the government, any government which is present at the center and the state, they have to ensure that the union and state governments has to manage their fiscal matters very responsibly. So this is what FRBM Act is. So it was passed in the year 2003. Initially, it has set a target of 3% of GDP, fiscal deficit and revenue deficit. They thought to make it zero by 2008, but that was not reached. Hence, in the year 2014, again 2012, again they have come out with some other recommendations, but that was also not reachable. Now, in the year 2016, under Narendra Modi government, they have come out with NK committee recommendations. Now, what this NK committee has said? NK committee has said that NK was the committee which was appointed to keep new targets for FRBM in the year 2016. So this committee has recommended in 2016, and the recommendations are as follows. You have to maintain fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit means the total number of borrowings that government needs to do. It has to be brought down to 3% by financial year 2021, 22. It has to be got to 23, it has to be 2.5%. But this was not reachable by the government because obviously because of COVID-19, and earlier in 2017 we have seen demonetization impacts and then the GST impacts followed by COVID-19 impacts. These targets were not reached, so government of India said that we cannot reach it. Now it also said that revenue deficits has to be subsequently reduced to 0.80% by financial year 2023. Again, this target is missed. It also said that the government's debt, total debt of the government of center and state should not cross more than 60%. In this, 40% is for center, 20% has to be for the states. However, they have also given an escape clauses. What do you mean by escape clauses? Under section 4.2 of the act, under some situations, government may not meet this situation. They can get some exemptions of 0.5% of fiscal deficit. What are the grounds? National security, war, calamities of national proportions, several collapse of agriculture, far-reaching structural reforms in economy, fall in the real output growth by 300 basis points. So deviation should not exceed fiscal deficit targets by 0.5%. So every year they can go beyond 0.5% under these circumstances. Now, this act also requires some proposals or some documents to be presented. What are the documents that the government should propose? FRBM requires the government should submit macroeconomic framework statement which says about what is GDP, what is growth rate, these things. This has to be presented along with the budget. Fiscal policies strategy statement has to be proposed along with the budget, and then medium-term fiscal policy statement should be proposed. So in practice, together, this and this will be proposed or will be presented to the parliament through medium-term fiscal policy and fiscal policy strategy statement. So there are three documents which government has to submit along with the budget as per FRBM. This is previous year prelims question. Along with budget, they have to propose or present this documents. Now in the medium term, they have to go for medium term expenditure framework, not presented with the budget, but in the middle of financial year, they will present this. But the question is what they are doing now. This was not presented by the budget. So these are the escape clauses. Already I have discussed about the escape clauses which are present under FRBM Act. So this is the issue, why it is in news. Now let's look at what exactly is the things. As per the latest budget 2023-24, the fiscal deficit is at 5.9% of GDP, whereas revenue deficit is at 2.9% of GDP, primary deficit is at 2.3% of GDP. FRBM required it to make 0%, and the FRBM required it to control at 3%, but we have not reached it because of certain COVID-19 implications. So this is the news, guys. So what is very important here in this article, FRBM, you have to understand why it is in news. Government didn't release this medium-term expenditure framework. What are encasing recommendations? Bring down fiscal deficits and primary deficits and revenue deficits to a very low. They have kept the targets, and they have also given some escape clauses. Government has used that escape clauses. As a result, today we have not reached that. The next one is what are the documents that has to be presented along with the budget. There are three documents apart from the budget. In the medium term expenditure framework has to be given. That was not given by the government. But the question is why government didn't give this report. Government said that whatever they said in the budget, what finance minister said in the budget, that the world is reeling under huge unfavorable conditions and the global headwinds are against the economic activities of all the countries. Now under this context, even after 6 months have passed away, as a result there was no change in the global scenario as far as economy is considered. Now there are huge uncertainties in the global world. As a result, FRBM, which requires medium-term expenditure framework, it requires assumptions to be made about the growth rate of economy and revenue receipts. So they have to assume what it is going to happen in the next financial year and the coming up financial year. So if you want to assume, there has to be certainty, but as there is no certainty, we cannot say at what rate growth rate is going to increase. This is what the lame excuse that was given by the Ministry of Finance. Nonetheless, one thing is very clear: medium-term expenditure framework is not released. Now, this is not the thing that this is not the first thing that government is doing. Successfully, this is the second time that they are doing. So, this is what all about FRBM Act is considered. Thanks for joining. A very important article for your prelims as well as for mains. Have a great day.